because, for example, unfortunately, in October of last year, you have a teenager who committed suicide talking to a character AI chatbot, or you have these basically the very saddening news that crop up basically every month or so around misuse of AI or kind of unethical safety aspects or privacy issues. And the current legislation basically does not address those gaps, right? So the thing that we work on with the legislators is how do we create a better framework, right? So if we don't have this clear delineation of someone manually inputting something bad into the model, how do we address, whether or not this model is at risk for committing, basically convincing, let's say, someone to do an unwanted act, right? So that's where we have these evaluation guardrails, where we look at this kind of what we call a dynamo eval suite, is look at, let's say, OpenAI. It might not have, let's say, a great risk of societal kind of doomsday scenarios right now. Like maybe it's not to the level of, let's say, all those kind of AI sci-fi movies, but it does have some risk, again, at, let's say, convincing someone to create a credit card debt or take on some loan. And maybe it's being too enthusiastic to tell the person, hey, like you should do this and that, and basically ruin that someone's life financially. And so how do we evaluate that? There's no kind of legislation around this, but there is, at some point, there should be some legal repercussions if, this AI is doing this at a scale of millions of people a day. So that's what we work with the legislators on. It's like, okay, let's look at this specific risk. Let's go through and simulate 1,000 different chats that normal people would have, and basically use a separate AI model to judge whether or not this risk is over a certain threshold. And that is, there requires a lot of human review around it, but basically I'm hopeful around this kind of new direction of AI governance.
Oh, wow. And these human reviews that you mentioned, right? So are these actual people sitting down and looking at all those models that are being generated by this evaluation engine, or how is that? Right?
Yes. So it starts with that. It starts with the human review, and then we automate it and scale it up with AI. And I think that's kind of the story we want to tell is, we want everything to be based in human values and human review, because I personally don't want to trust an AI to come up with a governance framework to judge AI, right? So once we work with legislators, let's say these Congress people in Washington, D.C., on this is the set of 8 different things we want to test AI on. And here's an example use case for each.